G'day, I'm Sean Summerfield. Welcome to Cool Cars here on Giltrap TV. Yes, we're still in lockdown, but we're still finding ways to unlock great stories from motorsport and the automotive world. Coming up today, Aston Martin's new superstar investors, Porsche's much anticipated Taycan takes on the Tesla, and from EVs to just E, as the motorsport world goes gaming. And speaking of motorsport, the Giltrap Group's first Indy 500 winner. And it's not who you think it is. And of course, there are some super cool cars on show and also a chance to win the Bruce McLaren movie. Which brings us to the big news, and that's next Tuesday's move to Alert Level 3. Well done, New Zealand. Do keep up the good work. Level 3, what does it mean? Well, we can offer contactless servicing and repairs across the Giltrap Group dealerships. That includes Schofield, Holden and Archibald and Shorters 2 dealerships. The process will be different to before. We will be doing everything to keep the community safe. That is the number one priority across our dealerships. Please head to giltrap.com for more details or your specific dealership's website or Facebook page to find out more. Right, Aston Martin have the new DBX coming. It may have been delayed by COVID-19, but it is coming. I was lucky enough though to get a sneak peek at Bathurst during the 12-hour race. It was on display, and what a car. I'm genuinely excited about the car. Now, the journalists have talked about the way this car handles, and that's really cool because that's important for an Aston Martin. Meanwhile, Aston Martin's ownership just got a whole lot more interesting with news that Mercedes F1 boss Toto Wolff has bought a share of Aston Martin. In Wolff's case, it's a $78 million stake in Lawrence Stroll's consortium. Now, it has been pointed out, due to the shares being sort of watered down, it gives him less than 1% ownership of Aston Martin. Still, he will be technically part owner of 2 Formula One teams with both Mercedes and Racing Point, the team that Stroll took over. Meanwhile, Alinghi founder and Switzerland's richest man, Ernesto Bertarelli, has also snapped up a similar share of Aston Martin. Right now, though, Aston Martin is of course still part of the Red Bull F1 team, and in honour of that, we dug up this great clip of the team boss Christian Horner learning to drive a Vantage on 2 wheels.
Speed's good. Speed up a little. Steer in, steer in, steer in, steer in, steer in, steer in. I know I'm laughing because honestly, you're driving it on 2 wheels, genuinely.
That is the most unnatural thing you will ever do in a road car.
Now, this week's Cool Cars features the DB11, a car that took the incredible reputation of the DB9 and moved it forward by a long way. But now the AMR team have found a way to make the car even better, a lot better. In fact, a seductive machine, and they're not my words, they're Jay Leno's words.
Like I say, it's the most seductive manufacturer. You just don't get seduced by the car. It just does everything well.
Now, we've got a link to Jay Leno's full drive of the DB11 AMR. Do check that out after you've seen this Cool Cars. And meanwhile, speaking of cool cars, we have a beautiful DB11 AMR in today's lineup. E-racing has become the new normal for drivers all over the world. And in the case of Kiwis, we're doing pretty damn well. Scott McLaughlin, big winner in IndyCar and in supercars, and now Shane Van Gisbergen has cleaned up in Barcelona, beating F1 star Max Verstappen.
Van Gisbergen, the Kiwi, makes a lunge down the inside, and that puts him into the lead. Well done, Van Gisbergen.
And another Giltrap driver, Liam Lawson, has been taking on the Formula One world, racing in the virtual Chinese Grand Prix.
It's brave to go all the way around the outside, but that's exactly what the Kiwi is trying to do. Doesn't quite have the room, and now tries to put his car in the middle. They bang wheels once and twice.
Liam went on to finish a solid 8th, with more to come from this young hotshot. We've had so much fun since the Lamborghini Urus arrived, and how could you go wrong, really? More grunt than a V8 supercar, it can go off-road, and it's a Lambo after all. And it's not just us that love it. Check out Top Gear's take.
Lamborghini have just laughed in the face of that and said, we don't care. We're going to make a car that handles like a sports car, despite looking like an off-roader. Hats off. Hats off to them.
And if you want to find out more about the logic-defying errors, check out this one in Cool Cars This Week. Okay, there's no way to hide it. We are falling in love day by day with EVs, especially when there's cars like the Porsche Taycan. And we saw it in the flesh at this year's Leadfoot Festival at the hands of Mark Webber and Earl Bamber as it ran up Millen's Mile. But the real comparison for any EV with sporting pretensions is when you take on the current king, the Tesla Model S. And Jack Ricks from Top Gear was the perfect person for the job.
This is neck and neck. I'm reeling it in. I'm reeling it in. That's a huge upset. The Porsche's won it.
Now, if you want to see more of that comparison, check out the link at the end of this Cool Cars. Meanwhile, we have some fantastic Porsches on offer right now from Giltrap Porsche, including, when you love this one, a Cayenne Hybrid Performance Edition. Right, time now for history. In the latest edition of 66 magazine, which is online right now at giltrap.com, features Sir Colin Giltrap. Now, there were some surprising thoughts from him on EVs, including, here's the spoiler, he loves them, but also on his memories from more than half a century in and around motorsport. Now, Sir Colin's support of Scott Dixon is pretty well known, but what you may not realise is he wasn't the first Giltrap-backed driver to win the Indy 500, because back in the late 70s, there was a young racer from Louisville, Kentucky, who brushed up his driving skills, I'm not making this up, working as a New York taxi driver. His name was Danny Sullivan. Now, he drove a Giltrap-sponsored entry in the 1978 New Zealand Grand Prix, a race, by the way, that was won by a bloke you might have heard of, K.K. Rosberg. Now, he toyed a bit with Formula One, but he went on to make his name in IndyCar. He was the champion in 1988, but really, his win at the Brickyard, the Indy 500 in 1985, was his greatest day behind the wheel. And not just the fact that he won and got to drink the milk, but the way he won. It was called the Spin and Win.
I've got him, and it is Danny Sullivan gets him. Danny Sullivan gets him down. No, he's squirrely. No, he's spinning. Danny Sullivan spins, but he goes around twice and gathers it in.
Absolutely incredible. Danny Sullivan spun in front of Mario Andretti, gathered the car back up and continues on.
The new American hero is Daniel John Sullivan III of Louisville, Kentucky, who has won the Indianapolis 500.
Now, another clip I've really enjoyed this week is Mr. JWW's drive in the Bentley Continental GT. Now, I knew I wasn't alone in absolutely falling in love with this car. I relish every chance I have to get behind the wheel, and it's good to know someone like Mr. JWW agrees completely.
All in all, this is exactly the kind of thing that I would absolutely love to just waft on down to the south of France in. It is one of the most ultimate mile munchers I've ever had the pleasure of driving.
And we have a couple of stunning Contis, the new model in this week's Cool Cars. Do check them out, especially that beautiful blue one. Now, last week in Cool Cars, we took a look at the new McLaren 765 LT. What a car. We thought we'd go back for more. So this week we're going in depth with McLaren design director Rob Melville. He's going to take us around the car and talk about some of the design features that make this car so magnificent. Before you check out more of that and the couple of great McLaren deals on Cool Cars, I must let you know about a competition we have running on the Giltrap Group Facebook page. It's a chance to win a copy of the Bruce McLaren movie. If you haven't seen it, this is something truly special.
What he started with the McLaren team was tremendous. McLaren went from success to success.
Bruce was a superstar, a jet-set person.
Bruce McLaren, the prime example of what Kiwi spirit can achieve. By the way, the question's not that hard. Good luck with the competition. Well, that's us for Cool Cars today. Do check out Giltrap TV on YouTube for more great cars and motorsport news. And we'll catch you soon with more cool cars and great deals. Stay safe.